Hello you guys, welcome to yet another video of Chelsea India Roars. Today we are going to talk about the geezer, the boss, Frank Lampard. Frank, as you know, has had an incredible career with Chelsea Football Club. Some of the most magical nights in a recent past has all featured Frank Lampard, be it the back-to-back Premier League titles under Mourinho or the magnifique night in Munich where we defeated Bayern Munich to lift our first Champions League trophy. And if you remember, Frank was captaining that match as well because Terry was out suspended. Terry was out suspended because of the red card he picked up against Barcelona in the semi-finals. So Frank was captaining that side as well. Super Frank has had a legendary status at the club. We all know that. But today we are not going to talk about his personal achievements at Chelsea. Today we are here to focus more on his managerial journey and the effect he's having on some of these raw, young players, which is precisely what I call the Lampard effect. And what is this effect I'm referring to? Our transfer window is a very big proof of that. From all those substandard players that we've been getting in some of the previous seasons, like Batshuayi or Bakayoko or Drinkwater, now we are getting some nice marquee signings like Werner or Ziyech or Chilwell. I don't know what magical words he tells some of these players on phone, but after having a phone conversation with Lampard, all seem to just naturally gravitate towards the club. He's like the Pied Piper and all of these guys are just following him to Stamford Bridge. Just have a look at all the signings that we've had this season. You see the very first video, the very first bite they give to the Chelsea Football Club, the first thing that they say is a reference of Lampard. Take Ziyech example. We all know how Lampard was impressed with Ziyech's achievements or Ziyech's skills against our game with Ajax, and he wanted Ziyech to join Chelsea Football Club. The very first thing that he said, "Yep, Lampard spoke to me, we had a conversation, we discussed what my role is going to be, I really liked it, I wanted to come and work under Lampard." Same with Werner. Werner in his first interview did mention Lampard was a big fan of this Leipzig striker, and the first thing which Werner said in his interview was also same. Like, when I was a young player, I always used to look up to Frank Lampard. I used to love the way he played and I was looking forward for an opportunity to play in the Premier League under Lampard's mentorship. Very, very similar thought. Same with Chilwell. Chilwell was Lampard's number one pick. He has been number one pick as a left back for some time, and that's the reason we went above and beyond to negotiate with Leicester and get Chilwell. The very first thing Chilwell comes and says, he also mentions about this Lampard factor. He says that, yeah, I was looking forward to working with Chelsea Football Club, especially with Frank Lampard. So there seems to be a common thread in some of these big signings, and Lampard is that thread. The Lampard factor, the Lampard effect is kind of bringing some of these players to Stamford Bridge. Now, if you talk about a player like Kai Havertz, one of the most promising young players in the world right now, why does Kai Havertz, out of all the clubs, wants to choose Chelsea? Not just because he loves the London weather or he wants an experience in English Premier League. Those two definitely are good reasons. Also, we have qualified for Champions League, so he would get those regular Champions League matches. But the biggest reason why a young dynamic player like Kai Havertz is joining Chelsea is Lampard. He wants to work under him and he has been very vocal about it. If you read some of the recent interaction, he did show his appreciation towards what Lampard is building. So a lot of these young players, they really love what Lampard is doing at Chelsea and they all want to be a part of it. And it was a big gamble for Chelsea Football Club to give the manager's job to Lampard last year. Lampard was reasonably new with this entire managerial aspect of things. Lampard had his first shot at management at Derby, where he did a fair job, a pretty decent job, where Derby finished 6th in the table, but they did make some real good inroads into some of those cup championships. As a matter of fact, they even went on and beat some of the Premier League sides like Manchester United, Southampton during that process, and eventually they were bored out by Chelsea in one of those games. But what Lampard showed in that season at Derby was remarkable, and that came on his resume pretty well. And one of the reasons why Chelsea showed that promise, because that incredible thing he did at Derby in just his first season. And believe it or not, what Lampard did last year at Chelsea was in his second year of professional season. And just look at some of the challenges he was facing at Chelsea Football Club. Like, we were going through transfer bans, our star player Hazard was out. Lampard had to just make do with some of the young academy graduates. But what a phenomenal season it has been. We qualified for the Champions League, and I think one of the other good things with Lampard did, other than bringing some of these nice English players, what his choice for the coaching staff. I think getting Jody Morris onto the team as the first assistant coach was very smart. Very smart. As you know, Jody Morris did an incredible job with some of these younger talents. Talents like Mount and Abraham and Loftus-Cheek and Hudson-Odoi and Tomori. Jody Morris knew strengths, all these players pretty well. So having Jody Morris in the team as part of the assistant coach line was a very smart move. Very good move by Lampard. And now the Chelsea board is backing Lampard with all this budget. The ability to buy some exciting players is only because of the good work that he did last year. But again, so bear it in mind that the effect Lampard has had in this transfer window has been pretty significant. I know Roman Abramovich is making the money available. Marina Granovskaya is using her charm and her negotiating skills to negotiate a very good deal with these players. But eventually, we shouldn't forget one thing. Chelsea finished 33 points behind Liverpool. We were nowhere in the title race. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't consider us in the title race even today. Look at the teams of Liverpool and City. Look at the depth, look at the bench strength, look at the way they play. There seems to be a stark difference between those two and the other 18 teams. A stark difference. Lampard had to do a lot of negotiations with these players. So I'm very sure Lampard had to talk about his ideology, about his beliefs, what transformational things he wants to do at Chelsea. So a large responsibility of getting these players over the line fell onto Lampard, and I think he did a remarkable job. And here is where I feel a player who has proven his mettle being a player comes in very handy. All of these young players, they all have looked up to Lampard. And today, when making that choice, they know that they are going into a team which is being managed by a legend, a star player, one of the once in a generation sort of a player like Lampard, where they will get a lot to learn from. And more importantly, Lampard would completely understand the situations they are in. He would be in a perfect position to mold their careers because Lampard has taken that same route to management right now. Once upon a time, one manager at West Ham did show that confidence in Lampard. You should see that interview. I will share that link in this video. Have a look at that interview, how Harry Redknapp, West Ham manager, showed promise for a young Frank Lampard, and he was almost nothing back then. So Lampard has been in the shoes of some of these players. He completely knows the transitional phases that they are going into. All of them have a lot of potential, but they need a mentor, a leader like Lampard, who can convert all this opportunity into brilliance, who can transform some of these players into the next Hazard, into the next Neymar. Again, Messi and Ronaldo could be incomparable, but way better player than they currently are. And that is what these players are currently looking at Lampard and are being gravitated towards Stamford Bridge. So I'm very happy. I am really excited, and I wanted to make this video to give a big shout out to the amazing work which Frank Lampard has done. I've always been a big Super Frank fan, always supported Lampard when he was a player, and even to be very honest, I had some inhibitions when he came in as a Chelsea manager. I thought he didn't have enough experience, but oh my god, the way he has kicked out all those doubts from supporters' mind, we completely know now Lampard is the man. Lampard is Chelsea through and through. You can see it. We have a very promising future with Lampard, and I'm excited, guys. I'm looking forward for the next season. I very honestly feel that the gap from Chelsea and the other two teams have narrowed significantly, and there should be a 3-horse race for next season. Again, if City by any chance brings Messi, the dynamics would completely change. But as things stand, I think Chelsea is definitely in the driver's seat for next season. The entire world should take a note at what Chelsea is doing next season. And that would be a wrap, guys, for this videos. I would thank all of you all who are watching my videos, who have subscribed to my videos. If you already have not, please do, and help me grow this channel across all the Chelsea fans across India. That's the whole intention. Again, this is a fans channel. This has been created by a fan for the fans just like yourself. So I would really appreciate if you go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and see this channel grow. Thank you again, all of you all. Keep safe. Cheers, and blue is the color. Bye bye.